So it gets a little bit more complicated. I know I said there are only 9 types, but there are actually 27. Yes, you are more complex than fitting into just 9 boxes and fitting the whole world population into just 9 boxes. But for each type, there are wings, and that's where we get the 27. You have 2 wings for each type. So the numbers adjacent to each type influence your personality too, and you'll have a stronger wing in one more than the other usually. But you have access to both, and actually it helps you be more well-rounded in that type when you do access both on a healthy level. For example, if you're a type 8, you can have access to your wings 7 or 9 and be influenced by those types more than the other. So, Captain Jack Sparrow, for example, from Pirates of the Caribbean, he's a 7 because he's fun loving, spontaneous, and enthusiastic, really doesn't like to get stuck in scenarios where he can't get out of them and stay stuck in bad feelings. So, he can wing with 6 or 8. And from looking at his character, the way he has no concern for loyalty to his friends, in fact, he backstabs them a lot, security or safety, he's not like a type 6. He's more of a control my own destiny kind of guy, so we can safely assume he's more of a 7 wing 8. In the Enneagram symbol, you'll see a bunch of lines connecting the types. It's called the inner flow, and all of these types are interconnected based on if they're healthy or unhealthy, or in growth or stress for that type. For example, a type 2 in stress can become controlling and demanding, looking like an unhealthy 8, but in growth, they can look like a healthy 4, acknowledging their honest feelings and seeking happiness independent of others. Whereas we remember the type 2 tries to seek happiness through serving and self sacrificing themselves on behalf of others. So that's an area of growth for the type 2. I'll also add here that it's important not to try to type other people. Haha, I know I did that for these media characters because there's so much that's happening under the surface. It's really easy to type people that you know really well, but since the Enneagram is based on motivations and fears rather than people's behavior, um, we don't want you mistyping somebody. Since I mentioned that the Enneagram has more to do with motivations of behavior than with the behavior itself, there's plenty of people who deeply connect to the drives and motivations, but appear nothing in behavior like the typical type. That's where the subtypes come in, and there are 27 subtypes, and each of the paths are an approach we might take to satisfy our motivations or steer away from our fears. Think about the subtype as a particular strategy for that type to satisfy their desire. So the 3 strategies are for each type: self preservation, social, and one to one. So, how to think about this in context is that the Enneagram Type 7 can be a self preservation 7, a social 7, or a one to one 7. The self preservation focuses and shapes behavior around survival and material security. The social subtype focuses and shapes behavior around belonging, recognition, and relationships with social groups. The one to one strategy focuses and shapes behavior around the quality and status of relationships with specific individuals. For myself in this example, I'm an Enneagram 4 Wing 5 with a self preservation dominant subtype, which means I look like the opposite of what you think a 4 might look like. Instead of dwelling in my passion of envy, I go to work and work hard, looking cheerful, trying to earn the things I'm envious of and hide from others who don't know how I actually feel. And on the outside, I can appear like an average 7 or a 3. However, I know I'm a 4 because my internal motivation is to fill what I feel like is missing in myself with something that I perceive I can work for and obtain, and therefore be worthy of love. Whereas on the flip side, a social 4 goes about filling their missing place by displaying their feelings openly with a desire for them to be witnessed in their suffering so that they can be loved by other people. This subtype strategy is often seen as the fitting strategy or a common solution when, at least I think of how to go about obtaining love. We talk about it and ask for it, right? In my opinion, I love the Enneagram because it shows you the box you put yourself in and the way you can get out. And the online tests for the Enneagram are, you can take them, but they're usually kind of inaccurate. It's best to do a little deep dive in yourself and get familiar with the descriptions. And like I said at the beginning, the one that hits too close to home or makes you feel some type of way the most is probably your type. Typing yourself will take a lot of honesty and introspection, and when you get it, so many things will start to make sense. It's also really important that you learn about all the types, wings, and subtypes so that you can learn your integrations of growth. You might also find that this is helpful for navigating relationships with your parents, siblings, teachers, friends, and family, or people who are unlike you that you can figure out how to connect with using the Enneagram. You guys get a gold star for completing the entire Enneagram series here on Lead. Go ahead and leave us some feedback on what you guys thought of the videos, what you guys learned, and what you thought was an interesting takeaway. At Southwestern Lead on Instagram or email us at lead@southwestern.com. I'm Noelle. Thanks for watching the Enneagram series here in Lead.